Hey everybody, Texas Trucker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Mopars.com. Out here trying to clear up some floor space, and that means you get to see some new tool hauls. So, good for you. This stuff actually came from KC Tool, every bit of it, but I think I'm going to call it Wiha Tool Haul number 8. So that's what we're going to roll with here. Could change my mind, so just go by the video title. But some of this stuff is just going to breeze through. And what we have here, I'm not going to take the time to like go in and get the prices before the video because I'm in a hurry. But this, I've brought this in before. I have it here at the house. I love it. I use it every time I do with anything insulated, which lately has been freezers and heater fans. But, I actually got this to take to work. The clines out there are really worn, mainly from improper use, not necessarily high voltage. But I picked up another thing with it, the Wera Kraftform rack, you know, that you can, like, it's 99 cents. It's one that'll hold 5 or 6 precision drivers, and then if you flip it, you know, it'll hold 5 or 6 screwdrivers. They package it with a ton of their sets. Those are dirt cheap if you want them standalone. I'm talking like under $2, I think. So I have that at work. I actually forgot to take this because it came in a later shipment. And bottom line though, I'm going to have that thrown out in the electric section. And then I also picked up 2 of the Stavilla picks. There's these stupid little clips they started putting in the panels, and I took some of my Stavilla picks down there and they worked beautifully, especially the 90-degree one, so I bought 2 of those. I've used those quite a bit since then because I've had this sitting here for 3+ months, I guess. And then the other thing that I bought that I think I took pictures of, but obviously don't have on video because I needed it immediately, on those clips that I have to take off where I terminate the wires, they've actually switched over. Everything is PoziDrive now, and it's a number 1 in this case because it's a small contact. And I bought it's also insulated, but a number 1 Pozi. I actually bought something Pozi. I specifically needed it, and I bought it and I took it to work, and it's out there in the rack. So these guys will be joining it. I'm thinking it holds 6 drivers, but don't hold me to it. It has to, because I have the 6 chisel drivers. I've got 5 here and then the little ones in the truck, so that's 6, so it should be covered there. I will link this down below to KC Tool for you, and I'll have the price there, but again, it's not a huge deal for me. I think I got a really good buy on it, maybe like 25-ish. That's probably what we paid for 5 drivers. This will cover the bulk of what I need. It's 3 slotted, and then you got number 1 and number 2 Phillips, so home free on that front. Something that might be of more interest to you is right here. This is the Wiha magnetic nut setter, and if you're thinking, hey, you've shown those to us, buddy, what's so exciting? Well, I've shown it to you as a set. These are super popular. People that use them burn through them. Other people like them. You know, you might just need, like, well, everything I do is number 14, or everything I do is number 10. You don't necessarily want to buy the set, you know, because you might not use like 3 of the sizes ever. You can get these individually now. And what I do, my blue one, I have all of them sitting over here. I've got the tiny red, I've got the yellow, I've got the brown, I've got the orange, I've got the black. I actually keep them in a KC tool stand. Case in point, here they are, in case you didn't believe me. But the blue one is not here, and the blue one is what I wind up using for a lot of the fence fixes I do around the house. This is in the Challenger right now with my rigid stuff, the Impact, because I use it to do a job at work. And so subsequently, I guess it's easier for me, honestly, just to keep the new one here and then leave that one in the bag that I'll take back and forth. But I use this one all the time, like the orange and the black. I don't know that I've ever even used the black one, but hey, it's there. So if you're that person, if you need a 3/8 in this case nut driver, these are awesome because they're magnetic. They work really well. I use some stainless Hex-Tex screws. They fit and hold perfectly for what I do, so that's good news on that front. But if you're like, man, you know, that's $29.99 is a great buy, the big deal, tool of the day, whatever you might find them on, keep in mind, if you just need 1 or 2 of them, you can get them individually. So if you want to buy 6 of the blue 3/8 one, because that's all you use, you can now do that. So consider that my community service for the month, right? That's all I kind of want to cover there. Again, Actually, you know what? I'm gonna, like I said, keep this one here, and I'll just leave the other one in the bag. That way, in the shop, I always have the 3/8 one. Granted, I'd probably have my impacts, but like I said, that's sitting in the Challenger right now. So, the star of the show, and what I decided to kind of make this a standalone video for, is not right here, and it is not right here. This would be the 6-in-1 from yesterday, that I actually took a look at. And it is also not right here. This is the Ultra Driver. Case in point, if I spin it around, you can probably see that says 26. The rest of it says in 1. It's none of this, but it's something similar to all of this. And this is relative. This is kind of like I just recorded the Cobra XS, you know, the tiny, tiny minis, if you will. I've had them here a long time. I've had this one here a long time. I kept wanting to release it standalone and, you know, early ahead of schedule, if you will. But I would get other things, you know, an advent calendar, the door silent gear, or something brand new type of a deal. So this one I sort of pushed back, and I really want to start using it, and it's one of those ones I couldn't because it was packed really well. What I have is the Wiha 14-in-1, alright? And some of you are thinking like, okay, seriously, dude, you know, you just got the 6-in-1, you got the 11-in-1, you've got an Ultra Driver, what more could you need? Well, this is, I think, a pretty sweet little purchase, I'm not going to lie. And let me try to find my paperwork, because I want to get the price. I specifically just looked this sucker up. As of right now, this is $18.68. You can pick this up from KC Tool or Wiha. You can probably find it other places if you want to. Check it out. It is a stubby bit holder, and you're thinking like, oh, Wiha's had that for forever. No, they've had a stubby bit holder for a very long time. A lot of people are big fans. This is the Ultra Stubby bit holder, and you're thinking, wow, you know, just quit throwing these adjectives around. Well, think about what I said. 6-in-1, standard stubby, Ultra Driver, and if you're thinking, wait, Ultra Driver, that's the double-ended bits. And if you take a closer look at this one, a lot of untrained eyes, you might think, okay, well, you know, you got your 6 bits there, and you got your 6 bits here. What's so exciting? Think again. Ultra, that means this is a double-ended bit, right? Fantastic. You're piecing it together. You're figuring out why I'm so excited. And this is the 8-piece Ultra bit set. We've got slotted, we've got Phillips, we've got square. It's designed with an ergo soft grip handle for maximum power and comfort. The handle will hold 7 double-ended bits. When they say double-ended, they're saying Ultra. It's a quarter double-end insert bits made of CVR tool steel. You can see the cushion grip highlighted there. And then, of course, the tool steel, which they seem to highlight quite frequently. Coming in right here, all right, we've got 3 and 4.5, 4 and 6, 5.5, and 6.5 for your slotted selection. So that's a pretty diverse little grouping, I must say. In Phillips, we go 0 and 3 as well as 1 and 2. And then right here with square, oh wow. I don't know that I have a 0 or a 3 square, and I probably do somewhere, but that's kind of an interesting deal. Probably in an Ultra Driver I do, actually, now that I think about it. But let's see here. What is the standalone part number on this guy? It is 38090. It was hiding right here. That's why I didn't see it. 38090. Again, I'll have this link down below for your convenience. And I gotta tell you, this is the type of stuff that gets me excited. Now, if you are unlike me and have a functioning thumb with a fingernail, this is probably easy to get into, but I'm gonna have to bust out the old faithful channel locks over here. Yeah, once you get it going, it's fine, but like I said, my hands are cold. Yeah, right thumb doesn't quite do everything I want it to, so I really do actually like this packaging, although it may not seem like I do. It's clear, it's concise, it lets you see the product, and with their flyers, they do a pretty good job of kind of highlighting everything. So we're going to pop this out. I gotta say, I do like the bit holder, and then most importantly though, we've got this guy that I want to get out of here. Oh, come on. Man, my hands are getting cold. Alright, so that's going to be our bit holder side. This is the stubby itself. It's labeled. It's got the standalone part number of 3802, which makes me curious. I wonder if I could go find this on Wiha Tools, and maybe it's like $7 and we could pick one up. In terms of holding the bit, you can kind of see that retaining ring. We've got a big slotted in place right out of the packaging. We're going to pull that right here. You can hopefully make out Wiha. I'll have to spin it around for you. And you can see 5.5, 6.5. These are your big slotted drivers, right? So we're going to set that over to the side, and we want to come in now and take a gander here. Now keep in mind, this is kind of sad because we're just going to pull all these guys out. But what I do want to tell you is, let's say that you are appalled that squares are included and you wanted hex bits, or you're appalled that squares are included and you wanted Pozi, or maybe you're appalled that Phillips and slot is included and you wanted Torx. Well, as with the Ultra Driver, there are a ton of bits. They're honestly pretty reasonable. They have what they call refill packs. And if you didn't know how the Ultra Driver works, we got two tabs here. My hands are so cold right now. Good grief. There we go. No, that hurt the thumb. Alright, so this is the way this works with a bit carousel, right? These are all double-sided Ultra Driver bits. And let's see here. We're going to say that you are that Torx guy, and you're like, oh, it's 2 bits dedicated to squares, 4 squares. That's just such a waste. Well, check it out. Maybe you use Torx and you want T20 and T25. Well, guess what? It's an Ultra Driver just like that one, so it's all compatible. And I gotta say, that is pretty sweet. Now, case in point here, maybe you're thinking like, whoa, hey, I kind of screwed up when I bought my Ultra Driver. I'll admit it. And I wanted to get myself set up with the Tradesman, and I accidentally bought the industrial one, and I wanted different bits, and one of the things I wanted was the number 1 and number 2 square. Well, guess what? You can take your big Ultra Driver, and as you guessed it, since it's standard Ultra Driver sizes, all the bits will swap. So bottom line, if you are heavily invested in the Ultra Driver lineup and you've got bit after bit after bit, it will all transfer. So if you hate what came with this guy, don't worry. What you're accustomed to, you can get bit refill packs, you can just pull it from that one, whatever you want to do. But the fact that something this small can actually hold 14 bits, granted 6 in the handle, 1 up here, is kind of crazy, and that's a big benefit. So what I'm gonna do, I'm freezing, and I want to preserve the battery life here and the time, because we're almost out of that too. I'm gonna assemble this off camera, take a look at it, and we will do a comparison. Alright, so I've got everything situated like I wanted. I've got the number 1 and 2 here, because I think 0 and 3 were paired together. Got it open because I will tell you, it secures very well. But with your hands cold, I don't know if you can tell like the indentations there, it's sort of difficult to open her up. But I want to highlight this for you. We've got the business end here. Let's try to actually zoom in. And the way I staggered these is I tried to put the big side up. I also made a point to get the font out so I could sort of see what I was working with. So if you're familiar with how they structure the bits, sometimes you've got like 2 really similar sizes, like you might have a 6.5 and a 5.5, but then you might have on the next bit like a 6 and a 3.5 or something, right? So that is helpful because you can't really see the bottom of the bit, but you kind of have a rough idea. And again, if you custom tailor this with a larger bit set and you know exactly what you're going to want in here, that will help you as well. Whatever your system might be, maybe you want to stagger the slotted, and have like a telltale sign. Maybe you have the 0 on your Phillips up, or maybe you have like a T15 sitting there, and it kind of tells you like, okay, my bigger slot is going to be here, the smaller will be here. All sorts of ways you can custom tailor this thing. But, if we could get it in the sweet spot, that would be great. So again, like I said, I did try to keep the sizes visible. There we know it's a number 3 square. Here we would have the 2 and the 1 square. That's just sort of how I set it up, and I think it's going to work quite well for me. Again, keep in mind, you don't just have these 6 visible bits. you have double the trouble, double the possibilities, because you have 6 adjoining them, right? So and then right here we've got the number 1 and number 2 Phillips in place. So I'm going to show you how you shut this guy. You just line it up, spin it, and then press down. Now, unlike the Ultra Driver, there's no release mechanism. There's nothing here you do with the shaft. You kind of have to pry it, which I complained about it. I did spend quite a bit of time trying to do this, and I thought I was going to get it on the first try. But there you go. You can kind of see, like, it is doable, and I think if it was warm and my hands weren't frigid, it would be much easier to execute. But that's how that's going to work. That kind of an inconvenience when you're accustomed to the Ultra Driver or their pop-out stuff, right? But it is what it is, and to have the knowledge that this stubby actually has 14 bits sort of makes up for any inconvenience, let's be honest, right? In terms of the bit holder itself, it's not a magnetic deal, it's not a locking deal, it's not a quick release, it's full-on manual. But once again, with the spring collar there, we can slide the PH1 in. I want the PH2 on the business end. Listen again for the positive click. Got it in place. There you go. Pretty good. One of the things I kind of like is it retracts the bit quite a bit. Obviously, you've got what you need out front, but you don't have like wasted space. So many times with a stubby driver, you know, it's like you've got all the shaft, you know, that's kind of in excess. This is pretty dadgum compact. So what I want to do now, I've got their standard SoftFinish Stubby. And it will, of course, be, look at the pedestals here, kind of their anti-roll spot. The stubby itself is actually shorter in terms of the body of the handle, but then look, they're almost equal length when you come in and you have the tips factored. So case in point, this shaft and tip is significantly longer than this guy. You can see by it bottoming out and the other one not being anywhere near touching. So I want to say these are roughly, despite this having the larger handle, they're almost the same in overall length. So that's pretty good news. Now, just for comparison with what I have handy, which is primarily Wiha stuff, I do have this Felo here. It's one of their cheaper stubbies. Same thing. It's about like the Wiha in terms of the shaft coupled. And I'm assuming, like the Wiha, it is the case where if you go by the anti-roll spot, it's a shorter handle. If you factor in that sleeve, it's honestly about the same length. So the bottom line is, what the selling point here, despite having a total of 14 different bits, like this is a number 2 Phillips. That's all it will ever be, right? Outside of something to stab someone with, or an ice pick if we grind it down, it's a number 2 Phillips. This is a number 2 Phillips, okay? It's now a number 1 Phillips. And if we pop the bottom out, we can make this slotted, we can make this Torx, we can make this square, whatever we want to do. It's literally all right there. The killer setup would be, let's picture you out on the job site, or maybe this is just in your glove box or your toolbox of your car, right? You're sitting there and maybe a freak sensor goes out, okay? And you're able to kind of limp mode yourself to an auto zone. You're just going to grab something and see if it works. Maybe you need a T20, right? So if this was a really handy number 2 Phillips stubby that covers you for most situations and is great for hose clamps that rupture on the side of the road, you don't have Torx there, right? Granted, if you have an Ultra Driver, you would probably be covered, but let's be honest, most people don't drive around with dedicated Torx drivers, right? You would want a bit set of some sort. Well, if you've invested in the Ultra Driver lineup, boom, you've got it right here, in fact. And then if you pair this, picture this tandem, okay? So this is super useful, particular for like installations and tradespeople. But out on the road, okay, if you take the Ultra Driver in its standard form and you take this stubby in its standard form, that's a killer combination. Think of this, okay? And if you don't overlap, let's say that you've got tons of torque stuff, you know exactly what brakes on your car all the time. All right, the card just timed out on me. But bottom line, if you don't overlap and you know exactly what you need, Torx, Phillips, slotted, square, hex bits, you can compile 26 bits here. You can have 14 additional here. And in that small of a footprint, you got everything covered. It's killer. So with that said, this is Wiha's 14-in-1. We also covered the fact, I can't stress this enough, you can buy these individually. That's correct, individually. Also showed you some stuff I'll be taking to work. And that's going to wrap up Wiha Tool Haul number 8. My feet are cold, my hands are cold. I've got to go inside and warm up a little bit. But I do hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned a little something. Let me know what you think of this 14-in-1. If you've had it, how are you liking it? If you don't have it, are you going to go pick it up? Let me know how excited you are. With that said, if you have not subscribed, make sure to do so. You can find us LoneStarMopars.com. Also, Facebook, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. If you have not subscribed, make sure you do so. I will catch you back here for more action from the shop.